Sunday morning, early afternoon. Beautiful day. I decided to change locations. I went to my yard back, me garden, as you would say it, you Brits would say it. I went to me garden back by me pool. So I'm in the backyard by me garden, by the pool, and talking to you guys. I should have known the wind was blowing a little bit. Hello, Kathy Bates. So glad, we did I thought some really good work the last couple of days, and I had a couple of different guests on. Hello, Amber Buck. I had a couple of different guests on that aren't regulars on the show, and I had Tommy Dades, who's a retired first grade detective, initially from the 60 Precinct Detective Squad, and then he retired out of Intel, but he also worked for the Brooklyn DA's office. And he has a sort of a famous book out called Friends of the Family. And in that book, it talks about the infamous corrupt cops, Ippolito and Caracappa, who are known as the Mafia cops. And Christine Robinson, I'm glad you saw the notification and clicked in. So Tommy Dades is a real amazing investigator, great guy. You want to hear something? I've probably known Tommy Dades for about a year, and I was introduced to Tommy Dades by Christopher Strom, a retired NYPD sergeant, and my co-host, Phil Grimaldi. But I've never actually met Tommy Dades in person. We've met via the show, via Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories. And I feel like we're great buddies, even though we've never physically met. And I want to put that behind us in the month of December, and I want to go out to dinner with him and my buddy, Phil Grimaldi, and then we can't say we've never met, Tommy Dades is a organized crime expert. When I talk expert, I'm talking that he's got knowledge. He's got this photographic memory. Hello, Lieutenant Pete. Good to see you. Hello, Julia for Justice. Lorna McKenzie. It's beautiful. Yeah, this is me garden. This is me old. It's back by me pool. It's closed, as you can see. It's all wrapped up for another, 7-8 months before we open again. But, I can't believe today it's Sunday and some idiot has to be using a chainsaw. I can't get away from these chainsaws. Yesterday I had some machine pounding and I had to move to the side of me garden and the other side. Now today I got some idiot using a chainsaw. There should be a law. No chainsaws on Sunday. It's unbelievable, So I'm happy. Anyway, I was talking about Tommy Dades. So I was privileged to have Tommy Dades on the show. He's been on the show before. He's a great guy. And he's going to be on the show again in the future. I just have to always convince him. I got to call him and schmooze him. That's a Yiddish word, even though I'm not Yiddish or Jewish. My wife is. And I use the Yiddish word. I got to schmooze Tommy Dades to come on the show. The Rittenhouse judge sometimes I get some idiots in the chat that I don't know. If there's any moderators that see anyone posting nonsensical stuff, just get rid of them. Someone said to me the other day while I was doing this show, you ruined the whole rhythm of the show shouting out to people in the chat. And basically what I said to that is, dude, you're a master of your own destiny, just leave. If you don't like what I'm doing, just leave. It's I'm not for everyone. I say that all the time, I'm not for everyone. And if you don't like what I do, there's a billion other podcasts out there. S the best. Schmoosen in Germany means to cuddle. Schmoosen. Schmoosen, that's a nice word, right? Schmooze it sort of means the same thing, I guess, in Yiddish. Maybe the derivation of that word is German. Schmooze, Lived it, nonsensical. It wasn't an attack. Tell him to bite you. You are wicked awesome, Bill. Thank you, Kathy Bates. You can't be for everyone. Something, I do what I do. I am who I am. And you like me, good. You don't, see you. Hate to be you. It's crazy. The greatest remark came from Angie Ng when she said, "This isn't an airport. You don't have to announce your arrival and departure." I love that. And I'll keep using it. Yiddish does come from German, according to Rains. Okay, cool. Comes from German. Anyway, so, we were talking yesterday, and Tommy Dades, if you're watching, I shout out to you, brother. I'm going to have you on the show again. And yesterday I had another great NYPD hero, retired first grade detective, and an author of at least 3 novels, but I know he's written much more than that. He's a poet, an amazing guy, Michael O'Keefe. And we went into Michael O'Keefe, his story of his life, basically, which was what will probably always define his life, is the fact that in 1992 he got into a life or death fight with a drug dealer named Kiko Garcia. And thank God Mike came out on top. He walked away from it with just a bruised psyche, and Kiko Garcia didn't walk away from it. Kiko Garcia was killed in that encounter. And that encounter, because of misinformation, much of it supplied by the press, and much of it supplied by politicians. Sven Larsen, hi Bill from Denmark. How are you, Sven? Good to see you. Much of the gasoline poured on the situation by politicians. And truth has to matter. It has to matter. And in the case of the Washington Heights riots, the truth didn't get out there for, I don't know, it seems like 4 or 5 days. And in that time, members of the Washington Heights community were trying to burn the neighborhood down. And because they were being fed misinformation. And some of the misinformation in regards to the Washington Heights riots of 1992 were that Michael O'Keefe executed this drug dealer, Kiko Garcia. It couldn't have been further from the truth. And thank God for good, not just good, great investigators from the NYPD, from the 3-4 Detective Squad, and from Manhattan North Homicide Squad, that they were able to impeach a witness who testified before a grand jury, all lies. And they proved, not just through an interview, but scientifically, that the information that she gave was a total 100% lie. And when they presented that information to the district attorney, who at the time was Robert Morgenthau, who, if anything, he was a lot of things, but he was fair and he believed in justice. And when he heard about this potential injustice being fed to the public, and the press was feeding it, and he 100% got the truth to get out there, he put the truth out there. And Michael O'Keefe was probably minutes or hours away from being indicted for murder. And then when the truth was presented to the grand jury, there was no indictment of Michael O'Keefe because he was 100% justified. And that's what was part of the Kyle Rittenhouse case, was self-defense and the law of justification. And many in this country would like to take away the law of justification, because when they see what they consider to be peaceful demonstrations, and then behind the peaceful demonstrations is the neighborhood going down in flames, there's something about that is so dishonest that I just can't, it's very hard to accept. So we discussed last night with Michael O'Keefe the parallels between what happened to him and what occurred in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. And just in regards to what is true and what is not true. What is being presented by the press that is totally fictional, and what is being presented by law, like the rule of law. The rule of law matters. If they ever take the rule of law away in this country, this is not going to be the United States of America. And I've read numerous articles from different authors, and it seems like this case is totally split down the middle by left and right. The left sees the Kyle Rittenhouse verdict as a total miscarriage of justice, where the right sees it as the only verdict that could have possibly come down. Why were prosecutors violating the law, trying to put this 18-year-old man in prison for the rest of his life? Aren't you supposed to play by the rules? Then why didn't they? Why were they flouting his civil rights, his legal rights, by asking him questions of why did you obtain counsel? That's a no-no question for any prosecutor to ask. Lived it. If someone's in the chat, get rid of this guy. Lived it. I don't even know who he is. Just get rid of him. If someone's in the, if a moderator's on board, just get rid of this guy. I don't know who he is. He's just posting nonsense. Um, just a wee bit of Rush Limbaugh. Well, Rush Limbaugh is no longer alive, but I think that whether you're a reporter for the left or whether you're a reporter for the right, you need to tell the truth. You need to start on the basis of truth. And so many untruths came out of that. And I think one of the worst things that we saw during that case, uh, um, no, the prosecutor did not side with the defense. The prosecutor sided with what the law was. And when there's a violation in court procedural law, any judge has to stop the violation of procedural law. And the district attorney was not following the law. You cannot bring up a defendant's, ask them a question of why they invoked counsel. That's not okay. And that's law school 101. And this prosecutor did that. How about this prosecutor pointing an AR-15 at the jury with his finger on the trigger? I mean, there's no lie about it, but it's pretty damn stupid to do, you know? How about the prosecutor not giving the video to the defense that he gave to the jury? He edited it. He made the one he gave to the defense blurry, or gave them a blurry copy. That's potential exculpatory evidence, and every lawyer knows that exculpatory is evidence that tends to prove innocence. But this guy was flouting all the laws, and I think what the prosecution may have been looking for was a mistrial, so that they could try it again, because they had no case. They had no case, and the fact that this came out as a self-defense case, and I don't know if the left believes in self-defense. Snow Lion, the Rittenhouse prosecutor, is some piece of work. Normally in a big case, I know at least in New York City, they would use their very, very best prosecutors for the biggest case. And if that was the best prosecutor they had in Kenosha, that's scary. That guy was incompetent at best, and his rotund partner was no better, I loved in their closing remarks as the guy started defending the actions of Rosenbaum. All he did was take a vehicle, put it in the middle of the road, and set it on fire. That's called an arson, which is a B felony, and they were making light of it. So what did he deserve to die for that? The fact that he attacked Rittenhouse, chased him down the block, and Rittenhouse brought a gun to a fist fight. A 17-year-old brought a gun to a fist fight with a 5-time convicted pedophile. Anyway, I don't want to get crazy. I think the right decision was reached. We covered the Rittenhouse case on 2 consecutive days, and with different. One day we had Tommy Dades, who's a retired first-grade detective. Snow Lion, as a lawyer, I'm shocked. Hello, Julia, Mickey V. Tomas Holo, something you got to take. Sometimes you got to take a beating. Is that the liberal mantra? Sometimes you got to take a beating. Why? So you can let what they consider protesters and what we consider rioters are 2 different things. Does anyone know how much money amount damages were done to Kenosha, Wisconsin? Anyone want to put it on the screen? Because I think once you cross a certain amount of damage, you can pretty much just prove through that number, through mathematics. You can prove through mathematics that these were not protesters; these were rioters. Okay, no one has the answer. I'll give you a little more time, and I'm going to tell you what the answer is. The peaceful protesters did $50 million worth of damage in Kenosha, Wisconsin. $50 million. The only one that actually said something, politician that said something that was remotely close to the truth or remotely not incendiary. Uh, he was not a vigilante. That word they use, vigilante, he went there and he didn't have any intention of attacking anyone until he was attacked. And then he used self-defense to defend himself. The left loves to use that word vigilante. The other thing they like to use is active shooter. And if they know the definition of an active shooter, it's so horrendous that they're using that. An active shooter goes to a location and indiscriminately just shoots people and tries to kill as many people as possible. That has nothing to do with Kyle Rittenhouse. So they incorrectly use inflammatory words to get everyone riled up. So all these press people like the MSNBC jury violators following the jury bus. He went there. Well, he went there to protect other people's property, but he did not go there as a vigilante. SSS. One of my biggest problems with this is that when you don't protect your citizens, for example, myself as a police officer, I took an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States and to protect the Constitution of the state of New York and to protect life and property. Do politicians take that same oath? Because when there's riots and they tell the police to stand down, how is that protecting life and property of your populace? It's not. So I have a problem with that, you know? And you know who created a Kyle Rittenhouse? The left. They created them because they would not defend their citizenry. You know, and you can talk about January 6th all you want. One person was killed during the January 6th, which they said they went there to take over the government. One person was killed, and she was a protester, and he was shot by the police. And you know one thing in Kenosha, they wouldn't accept the offer of the National Guard. They wouldn't accept it. But guess what? After the January 6th incident, the National Guard were there for 3 months. So isn't that a little hypocritical? Politicians will take the National Guard to protect them, but they will not allow the National Guard to protect the citizenry. So I have a big problem with that. And in no way was what happened on January 6th okay or all right, and I do not condone that. But let's compare both. One person died. How many people were killed during the peaceful protests of last summer? I think it's in the double figures, you know. How many billions, not millions, how many billions of dollars of damages were there? More than one person was killed. They stopped some of the... No, there was only one person killed. I don't know where you're getting more than one person was killed. There was only one. I'm not going to argue with you over that, but as far as I know, January 6th, one person was killed, and she was killed by the police. So, you know, we're comparing these things. What I'm just trying to get through, and, you know, I thought we covered it pretty well. Ashley Babbitt was protesting. She was breaking into a Capitol attempt to overthrow the election. Okay, if that's what you believe, that's okay. Social media, yeah, it does divide our country. Okay, ha ha ha. You are preaching to choir as far as I'm concerned, Christine Robinson. Ashley Babbitt lived in my neighborhood, Luigi Lollipop. That's a good name, Luigi Lollipop. So anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful day today, you know, to segue off all this. There's a lot of emotion to this stuff. But Reigns says they were prosecuting the Second Amendment. That's, you know, that's what we hear. One of the untruths also was that one of the untruths that we hear is that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines with a weapon. And that just happens to be not true. Yet the mainstream media keeps reporting that as if it's 100% true. And there's no truth to it at all. He didn't bring that gun across state lines. His friend did, who was of age, and he picked the gun up in Kenosha. So there goes the first narrative that the media is reporting. So that's... hello, tax cut. Hello, streamer. Guys, just again, if you're not subscribed to Police Off the Cuff, Real Crime Stories, please go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. These are crazy times, and it's unfortunate that the country is so split along political lines. But I mean, as long as you're allowed to voice your opinion, as long as you're allowed to have political opinions, I don't have a problem with it. But it seems like sometimes on both sides, maybe the press is used as a weapon, and there's sometimes a lot of untruths out there. There was an article written, and I read a part of this yesterday on the show. This article actually showed up in the New York Post, and there's a retired FBI agent. His name is James Gagliano, and he used to be a talking head on CNN, and now I think he works for CBS. But he's also a professor at St. John's University in Queens, New York, and he's pursuing his PhD. He wrote an article for the New York Post. I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs of it. Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges, which should come as no surprise to anyone who followed the facts of this case, though sadly, that does not include our politicians and media pundits. Rittenhouse should never have been unjustly smeared, served up as a political prop by those like our current president, who implied in a campaign video that the teenager from Antioch, Illinois, was a white supremacist. Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat, New York, believes in defunding the police and emptying Rikers, but not apparently in this case, as he recklessly tweeted, "Lock up Kyle Rittenhouse and throw away the key." Such sentiments spurred Kenosha, Wisconsin, to bring a case it must have known it couldn't win. The defense's legal position is that Rittenhouse, 18, acted in self-defense, was fully supported by the plentiful amounts of physical and testimonial evidence. One prosecution witness, Gage Grosskreutz, who survived being shot by Rittenhouse, admitted to aiming a pistol at him before being wounded in response. Video footage of the chaotic scene highlights multiple angles of the shootings and Rittenhouse's attempt to retreat. So I think he put that very succinctly. And here's a former FBI agent who's pretty damn educated. He should have his PhD very soon, who's saying that this case should never, ever have even been brought. So did the prosecutor know that he was going to lose this case? Is that why he did so many stupid things? To maybe have the judge throw the case out? Because there was a lot of stupidity in that prosecution. 18th century English jurist Sir William Blackstone outlined the necessity of an individual's retreat as far as he conveniently or safely can prior to the exercise of deadly physical force. There was no stand your ground law or castle doctrine to apply in the Rittenhouse case, only a clear-cut example of violence employed in defense of self. I rest my case. I think he said that pretty succinctly, and it sort of explains the whole situation of what occurred, and why deadly physical force was used, and there was 7 charges. There was another person in this case that kicked Kyle Rittenhouse in the head, and that's caught on video. And the prosecution knew who he was, and they hid that from the defense. They never attempted. Kathy Bates, you saw me on Banfield. That's great. Yeah, I'm supposed to go on there again Wednesday, the 24th, the day before Thanksgiving. Well, I enjoy going on Banfield because it's the segment I go on is called Policing in America, and I get to weigh in on different incidents that the NYP and DA in Queens would say, you left Long Island to come to Queens so you could shoot somebody. That's such ignorance. I have a hard time believing that DAs would say that. But look, we're entering a new era of criminal justice, of law enforcement, and many progressives, which I'll call them, it's another word for Democrat, but progressives, even the new district attorney of New York, They don't want to prosecute people and put them in jail anymore. They want to do what's called decarceration and use other methods basically to control the criminal element. So in essence, that's why you see things like bail reform. That's why you see cops getting shot by people who got released for violent crimes. Uh, cabin fever. I'm not going to call them commies. I'm calling them progressives. Democrats, they think differently than we do. But one of the things, I was part of the broken windows policing that was employed by the NYPD between the years of I guess it started in the middle 90s. I think that was around the start of Comstat and the start of, when Giuliani became mayor, Bill Bratton was the police commissioner. And they put this, Bill, the new era just isn't new champ, just people just speak up more now. Well, I don't know if that's true because, we have social media that also is progressive and blocks people from posting their opinions if social media doesn't agree with them. And they also have fact checkers that also don't really check facts. They disqualify people that they disagree with. So how is this? Is this the truth? Are we getting the truth, or are we just getting what they want us to hear? Folks, this is Coffee with Cannon. Cheers. And I'm in my garden. Where's all my folks from England today and Ireland? You guys take the day off? I'm not seeing anyone from the UK in the chat. Cheers. Cheers. Julie for Justice from Canada. Good to see you, Julie. Cabin fever, Schlante. A day without coffee is like night. I need my coffee too, Rita Schaefer, cheers, cheers. It's a little too early for the Baileys for me. Lieutenant Pete, quality of life crimes sets the tone. Oh, there, Julie Jackson from the UK. Good to see you. Mickey V from Sweden. Great to see you. Minru from Cambridge, UK. Great to see you guys. All you Brits, if you're not subscribed, I better see you subscribed. I see names I don't recognize here. Some of the British names I'm seeing. Paul from Newcastle. Paul, you subscribed from Newcastle? We need some of you Brits subscribed. We like where's the Gabby Cabby today? He must be working, Amber E, coffee is life. Snow Lion, I love your garden. The show is very enjoyable. Greetings from Canada. Cheers, Snow Lion. Smee, factual breakdown. My batch of homemade Irish cream came out great. Wow, you made it yourself? Amazing, amazing. Just unbelievable. Andy the Gabby Cabby loves Police Off the Cuff. Andy the Gabby Cabby is doing so well. I can't believe how much his audience has grown. That's tremendous, Sometimes we get big blasts of new subscribers, and sometimes we stay stagnant for a while, I got Julie Jackson. Welcome to Polish My Rack. Thank you for joining, Julie Jackson. That's great. Did you guys see the rack I posted last night of Mikey Heinrichs? He had over 212 medals. He was one of the most highly decorated detectives in NYPD history. He had 2 combat crosses and 2 medals of valor and over 212 department citations. Mikey Heinrichs, great guy. I've had him on the show before. I want to bring him back. Mikey Heinrichs is a real American hero. Amazing. And so is Lieutenant Pete Pranzo, who's in the chat. He's a hell of an American hero, And I just hope his book, Harlem Raiders, one day becomes a movie. Lieutenant Pete deserves it. Cheers, Lieutenant Pete. None of us that are in this chat that I'm aware of elected Bernie Sanders. I would never vote for Bernie Sanders. It's incredible, So look, let's talk about some good things too. Thanksgiving's coming up, guys. When you think about it, right? Think of in the last year all the things that you are thankful for, all the things that you have, to pray and say, thank the Lord, thank you for that, right? That's what Thanksgiving is all about, I think, And folks in Great Britain and Ireland and Australia. I know some of you guys don't celebrate Thanksgiving because it's an American holiday, but I'm sure you know what it's about, and it becomes a good, like most holidays, you want to be around your family, right? Oh, the lady is a tramp. Hello, how are you? Great to see you. Snowline, I'm going to look up Peter Pranzo's book. Cops, Charlie Better Built, but not too much. Uh, Thanksgiving is a great holiday, and this year I'm just going to have a low-key one. Just my wife and I are going to a restaurant because we just want to have a chill Thanksgiving this year. Jan Bernard, we had our Thanksgiving in Canada in October. Wow, I wasn't aware that that Thanksgiving was celebrated in Canada. Uh, Alicia B, I give thanks every day. There's always something to be thankful for. 100%, you know. You think of the cup half empty or you think of the cup half full. And then people that are really optimistic say, my cup runneth over. And it's a police off the cuff cup, right? Oh, folks, one other thing. We have, merchandise. I don't usually pitch our merchandise, but Christmas is coming. The holidays are coming. You can get police off the cuff mugs. You can get police off the cuff. What's the big coffee thing called? I forget what's even called. We have those. We have shirts. We have Polish My Rack shirts. We have Dipped in Butter shirts. We have workout pants. So, think of when you're shopping, you want to get something. Factual Breakdown bought merch. Thank you so much. If you want to buy something for your friends, for your relatives, for your girlfriend, for your boyfriend, husband, wife, go on the Police Off the Cuff site. You can get on policeoffthecuff.com, and that's our website. And we post our episodes on our website. Phil Grimaldi showed a Happy Turkey Day, Bill and family, as well as Police Off the Cuff family. Philly, good to see you, man. I was going to call you this morning, but figured I wouldn't have to. I'll just go live coffee at Cannon, and you show up. It's like shining the bat light in the sky, Philly shows up. That's great. Smee, I grew up in Plymouth. Plymouth Rock. Wow. Telling you need ornaments. Julia for Justice. Hey, Phil. It's, I really do love Thanksgiving. And then I love Christmas. Hopefully my sons will be home for Christmas. He's my one son, as you guys know, if you watch the show, he just moved to Denver, Colorado. And I would love to go. I'm going to go there soon. I'm going to go to Denver, Colorado. But he's going to come home for Christmas. He just went. He's been there a week. But he can't come home for Thanksgiving. I can't imagine what the flights must cost. The cannon light shined all over Brooklyn. Pippins, be thankful every day, I can't imagine what a flight would cost now to fly home from Denver, Colorado for Thanksgiving. It's probably crazy, As you guys know, if you watch my show too, I was in Florida 2 weeks ago. And to rent a car for 4 days was $600. Is that ridiculous? $600 because they claim because of COVID, there's a shortage of cars, and especially rental cars. And the line on the car rental was like ridiculous. And then when I got there, the guy acted like he was doing me a huge favor. Oh, I got a Toyota Prius, a hybrid, brand new. I was like, that's the last car, if I had a choice, that I would order. But if that's all you have, I'll take it, So I was driving a Toyota Prius all over Florida. If you guys, any of you guys that live in Florida, people drive, they're out of their mind in Florida. I took 75, the Route 75 north, and I think the speed limit's like 70. People were averaging like 85, 90. I was like, I thought I was in Italy. You ever drive in Italy? They drive crazy too, but Florida, I think it takes the cake. And where's all the highway patrol? No one slows down. People coming up behind you, it looks like, it's like the Grand Prix. I was like, it's crazy. It's just crazy the way people drive. Prius is so woke, Reverend Dr. James Hill. I would never drive a Prius in my personal life, but I had no choice, In fact, I have a lease car. I have a Acura RDX. It's a SUV because you live in Westchester with the snow and with the weather. You really need a four-wheel drive. I have to return it. I have to return it in April. So I went back early and I said, listen, lived it. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Bill, we are beyond games. My family, whoa, that went so fast I couldn't read your whole, maybe it'll come around again, but thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Reverend Dr. James Hill, I'm a 350 kind of guy myself. Yeah, so I got to return my car in April, and I went to the dealer. I said, hey, you better have a 2022 for me, 70 is the speed in Sweden, but in Sweden, don't you guys have small little cars, right? Everyone in the U.S. has these big SUVs, and especially in New York. In Florida, you don't need a four-wheel drive because they don't get snow. But if you don't have four-wheel drive on here and it snows and you get stuck out there, you're screwed. You're going to get stuck out on the road. You know, cabin fever, it went by so fast. I wish I could read what you said. Thank you for $10 super chat. I don't live in America, don't understand the ongoing fight between left and right, but I'm glad in my own country we are not allowed to own guns. Well, owning guns is part of the American way of life. And a lot of it has to do with hunting. And if you ever went to the Midwest, middle states of the United States, everyone hunts and everyone has guns for hunting purposes. And the Second Amendment is a constitutional right that people take very dear to their heart, that they're allowed to defend themselves. Cabin fever, thank you. I'm sorry, the chat flew by so fast, I couldn't read it. I love the Autobahn in Germany. Isn't that like a speed? That's a speedway too, right? Snow Lion, the Autobahn. So, yeah, so the Second Amendment is very dear. Thank you, lived it. Salute to you too. I live in Montreal and we drive like crazies too. Look, if you can drive fast and safely, you know, but many people that drive really fast, they don't drive safely and they cause, JR, it's about the Constitution and private rights for sure, 100%. Alicia B, 100 kilometers is 60 miles for you. Yeah, we don't go by the kilometer system. We're still miles per hour and feet and yards and inches and that type of stuff. They tried to change it with us old people when we were in school. We're like, no way, you know. Even in the Olympics, the mile, I think they still have a mile race, but it became sort of like the metric mile, the 1,500 meters, right? So just a quiet Sunday today. I may just chill out, start a fire in my fireplace, and maybe watch some football games. You can drive your BMW as fast as you can. That's a nice car, a Beamer, you know. But a Beamer sort of implies certain things. It's sort of like, in this country, it's sort of like, oh, I drive a Beamer. Oh, you know. So maybe I'd just like to say I drive an Acura rather than a Beamer, you know. And BMW stands for Bohemian Motor Works, isn't that correct? And it's a German car, right? It's so good to see you guys. You know, I love that I can get down, do a Coffee with Cannon show, and you guys show up and we just talk for a half hour. I'm at 37 minutes. I'm gonna go to 40 minutes today, and I'm gonna cut the show at 40 minutes. Yeah. Oh, Bavarian. I thought it was. You're right. Bavarian Motor Works. Art and Soul Bavarian. Okay, you guys are all correcting me. My kids would kill me for that. Dad, you're always saying the wrong thing. You're always saying the wrong word. Because doing the Astro World concert, I was calling it Astroland, and my son let me have it. He goes, Dad, it's not Astroland, it's Astro World. You're always getting it wrong. So I did. I got it wrong, but you know, it was not total. It wasn't horrible. Brandon Motor Wokes. That's great. That's great. Julia for Justice. Funny. 140 people in the chat. That's so great. Thank you guys for showing up on a Sunday morning. I feel so honored. Cheers. Coffee with Cannon. 141. Boom. So great. And guys, again, the merchandise. You can get this mug. Your own dipped in butter, police off the cuff mug. You can just go on our website and order them. Get them before Christmas, you know. Astro World in Brooklyn, Coney Island. Yeah, that's right. Philly Grimaldi's on here. Philly, I gotta have some of that Spumoni Gardens pizza before the first of the year. I don't know. I wish they delivered. I wish they had like a drone that could deliver me 2 of those pies this afternoon. But I don't feel like driving all the way an hour and a half back to down to Brooklyn, an hour and a half back. But imagine they had a drone, Spumoni Gardens with a drone to deliver those pizzas to your house. That would be just unbelievable. Sugar plums eating grits dipped in butter. Congratulations. Hello from Brittany Mavity. Hello from Jacksonville, Arkansas. So wonderful, guys. All right, guys, I'm coming up on 40 minutes. I just want to say thank you, guys. Thank everyone for coming by today. I mean, 40 minutes went by like, like we have this conversation, It's so fantastic that I can just sit here in me garden, in me yard, and talk to you guys from London, from Ireland, from Australia. Put a shrimp on the barbie. I have the most terrible accents, I know it, but it's funny, So guys, have a fantastic Sunday, and hopefully I'll see you very soon. Oh, tonight at 8 p.m., Joe Murray and Angie Ang, allegedly guilty. They're going to be live on YouTube and Facebook. Give them a look and subscribe to them. They've been huge supporters of Police Off the Cuff. Guys, shout out to the Gabby Cabby. Shout out to everyone. Have a great Sunday. Shout out to my co-host, Phil Grimaldi. Guys, have a wonderful day. Bye now.